Now, we all know art is subjective, but this next piece is only likely to win prizes for virtue signaling and probably racism too. Madness of Crowds author and Spectator associate editor Douglas Murray spotted a new installation by French-born black artist Nadina Ali in London this week that controversially demanded, quote, "Hey, straight white men, pass the power." He captioned the provocative shot, perfectly normal instructions spotted in Southwark, London. Anyone else spot a backlash coming? Since Douglas shared the snap online, political blogging website Guido Fawkes revealed the organisation behind the stunt has received more than £3 million in taxpayer funding since 2018. It sparked calls from the Taxpayer Alliance to defund the Arts Council of England, which contributed £1.8 million of that sum. Here's what the group's Elliot Keck told our very own Tom Harwood earlier today.
The organisation behind it certainly received a lot. What should the policy response now be?
Well, our policy response is very simple. The Arts Council should be defunded, so it costs, we think, about £400 to £500 million a year, and that's money that could be put back into taxpayers' pockets. And taxpayers will use that money. They use the money that they see in their pay packets in order to consume culture, go to museums, go to art galleries, go to shows, whatever it is. So our policy is very clear. We need to defund the Arts Council.
Artichoke Trust says it works with artists to create, quote, unique large-scale experiences that appeal to the widest possible audience, despite it taking aim at one of the largest demographics in the country. I mean, the issue I have with this, Adam Brooks, is that there's absolutely no way that the Mayor of London, that the police would allow this poster to be up if they were talking about any other racial or ethnic group in the country, if they were talking about any other sexuality. Yeah. You know, Douglas Murray writes in tomorrow's edition of The Spectator, you know, if this poster said, "Gay men, give up all your money," or, you know, it just, you know, you just know it would be considered a hate crime. But because it's about straight white men, it's completely acceptable.
As a straight white man myself, I'm starting to feel a little bit sort of targeted with things like this. And I can see how, you know, people could become sort of angry and extreme if these sort of things keep appearing. You know, it makes people feel targeted. It's racist and it's divisive. And I can't believe that's allowed to be up.
Well, John Sargent, as Douglas Murray also says, and very good article, by the way, in tomorrow's Spectator about all of this, he says, you know, for the unemployed bloke walking out of his Southwark council estate, he's probably thinking, what power do I have to pass exactly?
No, of course it is, but it's meant to be provocative. It's meant to be bold, exciting, and all the rest of it. I can't say it would excite me if I saw this. I can't say it would draw me into whatever activity I'm expected to be drawn into by. This is always the problem about government money, which has got to be serious and boring, frankly, being given to things which try to be on the edge to excite and interest people. So my feeling about this is I would like to know more about this particular artist. Is there any art involved? Is he, in fact, artistic? I have no idea. She. So that just shows how much I know about them. But the Artichoke Trust, I mean, it doesn't leap to mind as a famous organisation that I should know about. And one wonders whether or not this, you know, whether it works through. If in fact, oh no, this is just one project or one this or one that, well then it's up to the Arts Council to look at it and certainly review it. I don't object to that at all. But the idea that we, on the basis of what we can see here, think, oh well, this is obviously, you know, it's appalling and it's racist and all these other things. I think you've got to be careful about overreacting when in fact this can be on the edge of satire and... all right, but maybe it's being satirical. Maybe it's trying to...
Ashley, do you think this is racist?
Look, I don't necessarily agree with the stoking of culture wars on either side, but I think it's interesting, Adam, that you say that suddenly you feel targeted, because as a woman, I'm a white woman, but as a woman, I feel targeted with things that could threaten my life, as every woman is. Like, we fear for our lives because of inequality. 1 in 3 women are killed by a man one every 3 days. And so you're threatened by a poster, but
that's hardly
an art art is a form of expression, whether we agree with it or not. And I
Racist art.
think it is dangerous territory to say that if you don't agree with art, then you need to defund
What about the fact that it's,
artist.
it's partly publicly funded?
Yeah, but whoever it was saying like we can go to museums with public money, but if there's no art, and art has always been a form of expression, whether you agree with it or not, and also this person, I think, a black woman, she is.
It's not really art, though, is it? It's like a political poster. Fundamentally, it's not
But
a piece of art.
Art is
people
sort of
kicking
political,
walls
but also
tonight.
we're all talking about it, so it's doing its job because
You think
it's
people
giving
will
it
be
publicity.
angry?
I think this could cause extreme behaviour by people that have had enough.
So it's actually stoking division.
I think it
actually.
stokes.
There is already division. Like there are real threats and inequality to black and ethnic minorities and
But
to women.
as Douglas
They are
Murray
real
says,
threats.
would it be acceptable for there to be a poster up which said "Gay men hand over all your money"? Would that be
no,
acceptable?
of course not. But
So
they,
why
but
is
they
it
already
acceptable when
face
it's straight white?
They already face oppression. And by the way, I empathise so much as someone from a working class background with the white working class male who is overlooked
Yeah, because by the
in
way,
this
they're
argument.
the most deprived.
I
folk
know
in
that.
British
I know that,
society.
which is why I'm saying I don't always agree with the stoking of culture wars, but I think it's very dangerous territory to say that because we don't agree with art or, someone person that we need to get rid of that
I
art.
can't help that I'm white and I'm straight.
No, of course you can't. But you
That's
can also
who I
acknowledge
am.
your privilege. Even
No.
looking at MPs, 65% are men. We
Okay,
see what happens
but what about
when
that?
there
What
is
about
not
that young lad?
representation.
What about that young straight lad from the Southwark Council estate who statistics prove has no more privilege than any other group in society, yet he still has to see this poster?
I'm not disagreeing with you. And like I said, I don't necessarily think it's a good piece of art.
The idea that it's such a frail person would pass this poster and say, "My God, I'm white man.
No, but look, it's
I'm
a-
finished."
Finally, Douglas, you were walking on a London street, minding your own business, when confronted by this message, hey, straight white men, pass the power, it says. Now, you're not straight, so you're safe, keep all your power. But what does it say about our culture? We have normalised this type of racism, and in fact, it's often promoted as anti-racism, this sort of messaging.
Yeah, no, as I say, I mean, if you did it any other way, like, oi, black guys, hand over your rights, or oi, gays, give us the cash, people would say it's a hate crime. This was actually sponsored by some pathetic government-sponsored art network thing. It's created by a black woman from Marseille who's heavily subsidized by the British government to insult the British people. You won't be surprised to learn that she turns out to be a self-taught artist. But you can look at her website and see her enormously subtle other work. But yes, I was rather struck by this. I mean, first of all, the presumptuousness of it, the insultingness of it. And of course, as I say, play it any other way round, and who would permit it? But also this total fatuity, the fatuousness of the message. I mean, who is a straight white bloke meant to hand power to? I don't know. In Britain, Kemi Badenoch, a very successful black politician. Lord Mandelson, a gay, very privileged white man. Elton John, perhaps, should be given the power. Who knows?
What about the mayor? The mayor needs more power.
Absolutely. Sadiq Khan is not white. Maybe he should get more power. Maybe Christine Lagarde. She's a woman. Maybe all of the unemployed white men in Southwark in London who passed that sign should hand over their power to the head of the International Monetary Fund. That'll sort out the inequalities of our age. I mean, Liz Truss is quite likely to become the next Prime Minister of the UK. Are all of the unemployed straight white men in Southwark meant to hand over power to her? It's absolutely intolerable that this sort of thing goes on. It's very telling of our age. And as I say, this sort of nasty way in which we've accepted anti-white racism, anti-heterosexual bigotry, and basically misandry, that is just hatred of men. This has all seeped into our era. I just hope to God it's going to go and disappear soon.
Well, let's hope so, but I doubt that's going to be the case. Douglas Murray, thank you so much for joining me tonight.